Hello, this is Grunstar, and I had a blast this weekend playing with my new Poly and Play. Plus, it has a workflow that's kind of cool. I'm used to the workflows where you press a sequence and you have to change a knob to get to the pattern, like the beat step or the machine I got. The OP133, I press record and I press on the step that I want to do, and it has a 12 key number pad. Looks like a calculator, 0 through 9 plus a couple other extra keys, and it does the key, and I like that. And Polystep has something similar. It has the ability to turn itself into the keyboard on the right hand side, the last four rows. You press the key on that keyboard, and then you could just press on the position and the step, and you're off to the races. So that's gotten me between the EP133 and this Polyam Play. One of the big dings on the Polyam Play thing is it doesn't record. It doesn't sample. It doesn't do a lot of things that I would expect it, like the EP133 KO2 does. And so I gotta prepare a whole bunch of samples. And that's got me thinking. It's got me thinking of, I don't really sample. I didn't really even see the point of sampling. Usually within Bitwig, I'm messing around and I'm making my own stuff, and I have the VSTs, and there's no real need to sample in Bitwig unless you want to get something that I didn't make, and I tend to stay away from that. But now I have devices that are very severely limited in the sounds that I can make, and I have to put the sounds on the device. I have to sample something. So what I'm going to sample, I'm going to sample these bleeps and bloops I make. I'm not this exact bleep and bloop, because basically it's kind of boring. So what do we have to do this, right? So one of the tricks or techniques I saw is kind of take something and go, okay, how long do we want our bleep or bloop to be sampled, right? And that's kind of what we want to aim for. So let's say, like, maybe, do I want an eighth? Do I want a 16th? Do I just want to kind of like do a 16th and leave it at that? So what we want to do is we want to prep something for like maybe a 16th or an eighth of noise, right? And like that, right? And so we're sitting there, and then we can go into Bitwig, and we go, hey, bounce, either bounce in place or bounce, right? And we got the thing there done, right? Real easy, don't have to worry about it, right? And then we could just go into the file system over here, go into current project, go into bounce, and then there's our bounce. We just grab it out of the Explorer thing and map it over, and it's already in our thing, right? So the reason I want to do what I'm doing now is basically, dog. My mic likes picking up noises from a closed room. I don't have a whole soundproofing going on, and my dog loves being really antagonistic, likes yelling at things. He's an older dog. Anyway, so I want Pigments to do Pigments things and make it sound really cool, so I can put it in my sampler and sample it and do really cool things, right? Because basically the sampler doesn't do Pigments really well. No, I'm just talking about the sampler. Like, the Polyam Play does have synthesizers, but it doesn't touch near the amount of engines that's let's say the Pigments does. Doesn't do harmonic, doesn't do wavetable. Or at least I don't think it. I think it has 3 analog engines and now a percussion engine, right? It doesn't do modal. Or I think this is the modeling thing going on. It makes absolutely no noise. Because all right, let's narrow this down. Let's move our thing. All right, let's move it up a bit more, because that is entirely too short. I think that's getting cool. I need to mess with this a bit more. All right, that's nice and taking yeah, antagonistic. All right, let's do an envelope. Let's assign it to 2. All right, we're getting somewhere. We're doing a little bit of stuff. We want to add in some delay, going really crazy. Want to add in some reverb, maybe some shimmer. Okay. That's interesting, right? So... And you got your instant sci-fi noise. Love it. Actually, I really do love it. And it has a couple of bit of movement, so if I hold down, I got that. That's probably the shimmer. But if I do a pluck, I get that kind of stuff. So my sample, I want it to be kind of long now. To catch the tail, right? So maybe we do this. We do bounce. Yeah, that needs to be longer. Let's get that out of here. Let's bouncy bounce. And what we could do is we can mess with the thing. And on the sampler itself, I can mess with the start and stop. But we are getting something, right? And if we wanted to mess with this even more, we could go like that. put it in as an instrument. And this gives us a lot of possibilities for other sound ideas and to be messing around with. But I can export this now as a wave, pop it onto my Poly and Play Plus, and now have something to mess with on the keys, so I can put it in and set it up and have something on the sampler to go. Now, what most people do on these things is they crank up the speed on it to like double, and then tune it down to save space. The problem is like on my EP133 to KO2, the little micro calculator sampler, is it only has 64 megabytes of memory. That's not a lot of space. So with these, you gotta think really space conscious. But with the Poly and Play Plus, it has 16 gigabytes of space. I can slap this on here and not worry about it. Not gonna be stressed for space, because these things can go like to a megabyte per thing, especially in stereo. So I want to bounce it to mono, and this is definitely stereo, which will kill my space. And I kind of don't want stereo, although the if I do mess around with the panning or stuff like that, because it looks like there is some data that's different between the two channels, between the left and right channel. Like I might want to keep it in stereo if that's important to me, or important to somebody. But in this occasion, I think rendering it to like mono maybe would be better, so I could save on the space and then speed it up. And then on the KO 133, it's got a pitch thing, and I can pitch it down an entire octave and get it back. And so it saves a ton of space with these things. And for like the samplers back in the 80s, when you only had like 8 kilobytes of space per sampler or something like that, I remember the tracker days. You really had nothing to play with. And basically you were trying to do stuff to save a whole lot of space, and you had to do all these tricks, and I'm just learning all this stuff now, because like I said, I've not had a reason to mess around with the sampler until I actually started getting external samplers and going, oh hey, ooh, yeah, this isn't like my DAW. I can't use VSTs, I can't do this, I can't do this. How do I get sounds into this? I gotta use a sampler? Ooh, okay. Okay. I got it. I got tons of samples. I got entire things of samples, right? But these are all somebody else's stuff, and like I said, I like to do my own thing. I want to do my own samples. So I'm in here and I'm making my own. And doing it, and then basically I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it into the Poly and Play Plus, and it's going to sound a really weird like type thing, and I'm going to love it because it's going to be really weird. And I have the ability to now I can, if I want, to add some effects later on to maybe the sampler or something like that, maybe some granularity or something, and be able to, so we can do granular playback on this, right? Mess with the speed a bit. And this is velocity sensitive, so my keyboard is playing it low when I need it to remain on velocity. And the granular thing, I need to learn a bit more. We can mess around with the loop positions. We could do this, or I can put it into pigments and mess with the granular on that one, or I can put it in a couple of other granular type of things I have. Like Blius has a nice little granulizer. And I did this, and I put it on the wrong track. There we go. little low on that. I have to kick the gain up a bit. It does the granular thing, right? It cuts up the little small pieces, and then I can bounce this one out, like say. Ooh, even better. Let's get that to. Yeah, this has got to be probably a fourth. Yeah, something. I need to like normalize these. Back. There we go. Doop, doop, doop. Okay. Messing around, it sounds really cool. Hey, we got something. I like it. It has that old '80s sampler type of style to it, especially with the probably the alternative. I don't want to mention Kraftwerk, and I just did, but sort of that old '80s sampler style of messing around with this stuff. Not on their level of stuff, obviously, but close to messing around with the sounds of it, the old kind of the older industrial kind of stuff. Either way, really cool. Let me know what you think. But anyway, just I got this Polyam Play Plus, and now I have to rethink how I do things, and I'm really getting into this learning sampling stuff. Because I understand sampling, but realistically, it wasn't really something I needed to sample my own stuff. And now I can understand it a bit. I really do. These samplers have kind of opened my eyes to to a different way of thinking about things, a different way of looking at music. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I will catch you later.